All right, buckle up, because today we're diving into one of the craziest aviation hijacking stories you've probably never heard of. Imagine this: a routine FedEx cargo flight, three unsuspecting crew members, and one employee with an axe, a hammer, and an absolutely insane plan. This is the wild story of how a FedEx flight nearly became a flying crime scene, and how the pilots fought back in the most unbelievable way. Before we jump in, if you like videos like this, make sure to like and subscribe, and let us know your favorite animation style in the comments. Our guy today is Auburn Calloway, former Navy pilot, FedEx flight engineer, a man with skills, experience, and, well, a serious problem. Calloway was facing termination from FedEx due to discrepancies in his flight records. Instead of seeking another job like a rational person, he devised a horrifying plan to hijack a plane, stage his own death, and leave behind a massive life insurance payout for his family. But was it just desperation, or was there something deeper at play here? On April 7, 1994, Calloway boarded FedEx Flight 705, a DC-10 cargo plane bound for San Jose, California. Since he was a fellow employee, security was minimal. He simply walked on board with a guitar case. But inside, no guitar, just a hammer, a crowbar, and a spear gun. His plan? Eliminate the flight crew mid-air, crash the plane in a way that looked accidental, and ensure his family cashed in on a massive insurance policy. It might have seemed foolproof to him, but what he didn't anticipate was the sheer determination of three pilots who refused to die. Once the plane was airborne, Calloway launched his brutal attack. He stormed the cockpit with a hammer, swinging at the heads of Captain David Sanders, First Officer James Tucker, and Flight Engineer Andrew Peterson. His goal was to knock them out instantly, but these men were trained pilots, quick-thinking, highly skilled, and in no mood to go down without a fight. Tucker, despite a severe skull fracture, fought back viciously. Blood splattered the cockpit as the three men battled their attacker while trying to keep the plane in the air. In a desperate bid to throw Calloway off, Tucker did something absolutely insane. He began flying the plane erratically. We're talking full-speed dives, rapid ascents, and banking maneuvers that sent everything in the cockpit, including Calloway, tumbling. At one point, this massive DC-10 was flying upside down. Imagine that. This wasn't a fighter jet. It was a cargo plane carrying thousands of pounds of freight. Yet, even as they wrestled their attacker, these pilots were pulling off maneuvers that seemed physically impossible. The fight for control of the plane wasn't just physical, it was psychological. Calloway, despite his injuries, kept coming. The pilots were running on pure adrenaline, struggling to subdue him while preventing the plane from crashing. Their training, their instincts, and their sheer will to survive kept them in the fight. Every time Calloway got back up, they threw him down again. This wasn't just a hijacking, it was a war happening in a space barely big enough for four people. After what must have felt like an eternity, the pilots managed to turn the tables. Working together, despite their injuries, they overpowered Calloway. Using their own belts as makeshift restraints, they tied him up and finally, for the first time in what felt like forever, had control of the situation. But there was still one problem. The plane was damaged, the crew was injured, and they had to land, fast. With Calloway restrained and the cockpit drenched in blood, Tucker, who had suffered a fractured skull, somehow managed to pilot the plane back to Memphis. Every second felt like an eternity. Would they make it? Would Calloway break free? Would the damage to the aircraft prove fatal? Against all odds, they touched down safely, and authorities stormed the plane to find a scene straight out of an action movie. Calloway's plan had failed spectacularly. He was immediately arrested and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As for the pilots, they survived, but not without scars, both physical and psychological. The fight had taken a toll, but their bravery turned them into aviation legends. Their actions not only saved their own lives, but also ensured Calloway never got the chance to try again. And that, my friends, is the insane story of the FedEx Flight 705 hijacking. Three pilots, a brutal fight at 35,000 feet, and an ending no one saw coming. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more unbelievable true stories, and tell us in the comments, What would you have done in their shoes? Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.